Thanks for staying with us. So we have another story. A Nigerian rapper, Erigga, took to his Twitter and said that I used to think our parents were so strict, but watching these kids today, I think our parents saved our lives. What are your thoughts on this? It generated a lot of, for and against, mostly for. And some persons were saying, thank God, all the strictness I got, all the beating I got, the way my parents were so strict with me, that's why I'm behaving well today, that's why I'm disciplined. And he was comparing it with how the children of today behaved, and they, we're looking back, and a lot of people were saying that children of today are so spoiled, everything is their emotional well-being, everything is they don't want depression, they are depressed, they can't stand any form of perseverance, any form of endurance at all, and we're able to stand that because of the training and the discipline that we got from our parents. So what are your thoughts on this? I would like to know what you think about the children we are raising today, our Gen Zs, and how we turned out. And let's see if some of those training we got was what helped us, if we actually believe that we were helped.
Sometimes when you see some of these kids behave, you
surprised.
think you would almost agree. In fact, you would agree that there's no upbringing anymore. So for me, beating was not the only thing. There were tough talks.
Yeah.
Those tough talks, they don't do them anymore. They don't do them. If you do tough talk with one child now, this was when
I'm depressed.
Hey, mommy, you hurt my feelings. I would just look and say, what is the
You're not insulting the boy.
Some things. I told you one now, my father used to say, just when he interpreted the one, this don't be a fool the size of your body, the size of your age. He will use it like that. So, it's telling you to comport yourself. And the way he will tell you, you will not forget to comport yourself. Okay. You would remember. Because they have told you, they only need to tell you once in a lifetime to know how to behave that behavior whenever you see it. But these kids, the way they are now, I'm dealing with a 20-something-year-old recently, and I'm wondering how she was raised. You talk anyhow, you talk how, just do things anyhow, just go. Okay. My mom used to say, to correct me when I want to go out on adventures with my friends. I didn't make your two left leg not carry you. It's how waiting go if you use your right leg come out. She'll just say, I'll be like, it's true, if I get into trouble, how do I explain?
How do you?
I'm thinking I'm coming home.
No. Did he stop you?
He said, he stopped me. He stopped a lot of things. So I'll be like,
if you talk so.
If he stopped a lot of things. He stopped a lot of things.
Because on other shows you have told us how you were so troublesome.
I'm telling you.
No, I was back in trouble. I was a child that needed attention to be raised. I cannot lie sitting down here. Some beating that I thought, this beating was appropriate, was timely. Some talks was timely. And I would really like to be timely with my kids. I don't want to just be anyhow. In the name of we're in a modern world with a child. You are the one who born your child. You know that child more than anybody in the world. If your goal is to raise a proper individual, you know to pay attention. You know certain things that you just would not be able to overlook. Well, there was one that happened. My child was about less than 2 at the time, and we went visiting a friend, a family friend, and he saw a toy there. You know the way babies are, I want a toy. And the person was like, give him. She didn't say to me that the toy was for somebody else's child who had stayed at her house, and she gave the toy. Sadly, we ended up in the enemy's camp with this toy. Because the owner of the toy saw the toy and thought it was a good reason to disgrace and embarrass me outside.
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you. So sometimes this standing I'm just talking of toddlers now. Imagine it being an adult child. The word that were used, the words used, was that I allowed my child to take what does not belong to him. I was like, we were visiting a family safe place. And I would not have, and I remember saying to that woman that day that, no, he can't take it, it's not his own. Let's go. He's crying. And so you imagine it for a grown-up child, he will cry. He died crying. They cry blood, as they used to say in Edo. If you not cry blood, make it cry, There are times for those things. There are times to stand your ground, to protect yourself. These things, when you leave too many things unattended, you might just find yourself in a very embarrassing place.
So I think we're getting it wrong somehow. Let me just say 50% we're getting it wrong. Because presently now, the way we raise our kids, the community not helping us in raising these kids. Now, children now, it's just the mom and the dad. That's if the dad is even involved. We're the ones raising these kids by ourselves. You see a child will do something wrong outside. For example, my daughter, there was a time my daughter went out and, you know, she was strolling in an estate, she was strolling, and then she didn't greet some elders, you know. She did not greet. I was expecting, the elder now came and told me after a week, she came tell me that, I saw your daughter, oh, she didn't greet you, blah. And I was like, why didn't you tell her there and then? What do you want me to go and do about it now? I went to meet my daughter and I was like, so day. She could not even remember
anymore.
She could not remember. There and then.
Could have been handled, yeah.
But another thing here is, sometimes you reprimand the child, the mother will come and meet you. Why did you talk to my child? Why did you do this to my child? You understand?
Yeah.
So now the community needs to help. But these days, the community, they are not part of raising a child anymore.
Okay. Miriam, do you agree with these two women? Because I'm waiting for them somewhere.
No, but, you know, I think we learn from the older generation. I think parenting has always evolved. And with our generation, we're raising our children differently. And it's based off the fact that there's some things that were done right and some that were done wrong.
Yeah.
So I was a very sensitive child growing up. There's some tough words maybe that were used for me. For my sister, it didn't mean anything. For someone like you, it didn't mean anything. But for me, it stayed with me for so long. You know, I talk about how my confidence was, you know, by parenting. I love my mother to death, as you all know. But I just felt that the parenting for me could have been a bit different. Because of the words. And yet, now as I'm raising my children, I'm realizing maybe she was right all along. Do you understand? Maybe if she catered too much to my sensitivity, I would have been resilient.
You for spoil finish.
Yes, so the thing is, it's constantly a balancing act. See, it's a balancing act for me.
Yes.
Because sometimes my children, based on what I'm doing, I'll see them, you know, blossom and I'm proud. I'm like, oh, okay, it's working. There are some things that when they do, I'm like, it's good for me. You say you don't do this kind of parenting. Now see what has happened. How would you handle it? So I'm constantly, you know me, I'm constantly looking to all of you. Please, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? So it's really about balancing act. But there are sensitive children. And because I was that sort of child, I tend to be more careful about the emotional state of my children. And when I was growing up, there are some people that I see them so bold, almost arrogant. You know, I was listening to Chudi saying something that a clip, and he said that, you know, if he were to choose two extremes for his children, one of the two extremes for his children, either, you know, really shy and lacking confidence, or so bold to the point of arrogance. He would pick so bold to the point of arrogance, and I get it. Because for me, I felt that in trying to raise me to be proper, I couldn't speak up in some situations that would have been life-changing. Some adults got away with some really terrible behavior because of that upbringing. I have a daughter, God help you. If you like, let it fly.
If you do anyhow.
She will tell. If she knows she cannot tell, Mommy, please, I do not want to be rude. But I would like to say it makes me proud. Because for me, I knew that there were things I could not say because I was growing up and I had to, you know, walk that path, and people got away with bad behavior.
So you know, I've heard from both sides, and I want to believe there's always advantage and disadvantage of any method you use for your children, right? But what pains me or what hurts me is the fact that we in this generation, assume that we behave better than these young ones. We don't. We don't behave better than them. The only difference at the time was we were not expressive. We were not given that opportunity to express. But we had some of these things in our minds. A lot of us grew up with split personalities. You know the personality to present to your father when you're home. You know the one that you do in school. Nobody follows you there. We had a lot of badly behaved students in secondary school and university. All the people that entered cult, is it from this Gen Z generation? It was from our time. Boys were being killed in the university. Boys were carrying guns in the university. Boys were stealing in the university. Girls were doing different things in the university. And it's still this generation. So I don't think our parents did bad or they did good. What I believe is that they worked with what they had at the time. They did the best they could with what they knew at the time, with the resources available to them at the time. And now we now have an opportunity to want to change it because we saw some of the adverse effects of how we grew up, if you're truthful to yourself. So I'm a very truthful person to myself. And I knew that with all the beating that they beat me, it didn't stop me from doing what I wanted to do. As a matter of fact, I would do it so well, lie about it, cover it, you will not know. I had to learn to split my personality, so I give you what you want to see, and I go and do what I want to do, right? And I was still raised with that shielding and beating and chastising and insulting and all of that. There were some traumas that I got from growing up that I am still reliving in my adulthood. It's taking me understanding to now, separate it and say, okay, but this is me. I am a creator of my own life. I can make changes in this way. A lot of people are not where I am today in terms of awareness to even come out of some of the things they heard their parents say to them. It damaged them. It didn't let them flourish the way they would have. A lot of people lost most of their talents because of some of the very deep words that were said to them. We're not looking at that. We're looking at we can greet. We can greet. We can do this one. We can do that one. If in this generation you will raise your children to greet, they will greet. If you raise your children not to tell lies, they will not tell lies. If you model the right behaviors to them because you know better, they will take it, whether you flog them or not. It's not really about the flogging. So I used to beat my children. No, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not beating my children. They are growing now, so I hardly, yes. So we now have conversations. But when they were little, I felt I could control with the hand. I used to. Before you realize it, they know. My son will tell you, mommy does not. It's daddy that used to give us long rope. Daddy will call us and be doing sermon on the mount. But mommy, better keep your face away when she's asking you those questions. Because before you know, you collect woto. So I still did that. But then I started realizing some of the effects it had on me. And I didn't want to have hardened children. So I had to soft pedal. So the thing is about balance. We ourselves that were condemning the Gen Zs, we modeled their behavior to them. We modeled it in a way that we couldn't speak up. But we showed in the attitude, and they became expressive, and they spoke what we had in mind.
We allowed them to speak up.
We allowed them to speak up. Now they spoke what we had in mind that we couldn't say at the time. So it's the same thing as far as I'm concerned.
There's still certain things that, they say people that they take English, talk to know they get sense. Because this modernity, the Oyiboish.
Yes, we're trying to copy the Western.
Doing so much, too much of.
Yeah.
Is why we have this little gap that we're seeing, that we're talking about every day. So I see it when because I speak too much English with my kids. I didn't have to. I struggled to learn. Weeks, I'm still learning the proverb that my father just spoke. I'm still trying to go. Yes. Somebody tell you so.
What does it mean?
So there was a time I was telling my father that all my friends in school, they have a phone. That time when it was raining, this BlackBerry.
Okay.
It was raining, pinging. Like, I need to get a pinging thing. I need to, my father said, my Igbo have it on my
BlackBerry.
Go and sit down. And I was like, my Igbo have it on my Igbo fit. What is this one talk now? Oh, God. So weeks, I will be going from one auntie, one uncle that can speak the Esako language to see. And one day he just came back from a family meeting and said, I'm a professor from my tribe in Ilori had written a book, the Waziri of Auchi. He said, I bought the book for you. It was a dictionary of proverbs in my language. Months on end, I'm on it. So the time I put into reading the proverb, I don't get sense finish. Honestly. By the time I'm doing it, I'll be like, oh. Before you knew it, I got this resistance to everything everybody's using. I still have it till today. If I don't, no, I don't need
not
it.
For me.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
I've learned it. Little, but my kids, a good friend, you cannot do that. I'm speaking English. The child will come back tomorrow and say, Mommy, I still want it. No, if I don't throw him, not beating. It wasn't beating, the tough talk.
Yes.
My father is a talker. He's told stories to correct you. He will talk. But my mama, hope she's watching anyway. She watches everything. She's a bitter. I have marks from the beating because she couldn't handle me. I was small. You want to catch me, I don't pass here. I was easy.
I believe that.
I showed the woman Pepe. There was a day she was trying to catch me, and I held on to a branch of the tree. She couldn't see me. I went up like a monkey. And the next thing, she saw me jump and landed. So she said, you this speaking. So my mom had to wait for me to sleep to start a conversation with beating.
Yeah, so
she'll wake me up
leave it to us.
say,
leave it
oh
to
yeah,
us.
and all doors locked.
From the
So,
dream,
You wake up. In fact, my mom does
That
not
was
deal
traumatic.
with you
I know.
when you do something.
Yes.
When you are sleeping.
They'll
Because
post
you know
it
you'll
for
be
you.
running when they want to beat
Thank you.
You'll be running up and down. My mom will say, no, don't worry.
Yes.
Let me wait for her. When you are
worry.
sleeping, that thing you did.
I'm telling you.
Tashi.
Let me
What-
just see people
one of my uncles
small
visited.
when my son was 2+. You know that they are terrible to behavior when they are throwing things up and down. So I was chasing him. No, I think it was 4. It was 4.
Don't
I
tell
was
me you
chasing
slipped.
him. And I was pregnant too.
Oh my goodness.
I fell. Unfortunately for him, I grabbed his leg.
But it's the pregnancy hormone.
No, it's pregnant.
Beat him.
My husband shouted,
Cannibal. Then you want to chop him.
"You just beat him." I said, "Yes." He still gives the story to he said, if mommy cannot get you, mommy will bite you.
But I hope you were there. You didn't bite hard.
It's my son. I don't bite like you are telling me.
You're looking
But
at this
till
thing
today he tells that story.
But you know, because
I
you
was frustrated.
because you persisted.
Yes. But
You know,
you
kids,
during
if
our
you didn't
time-
persist, they take you. So me, I always say,
Yes,
what
they
I
push
keep
their
my
boundaries.
symbol of authority near me. But once I pick it over an issue, you will stop it.
collect. Yeah. You
The
collect.
reason is that if I drop it back, you will take me for
not-
granted.
yes.
Yeah.
So once I hold that thing over any child, they know better. No. So they always say,
But must it
the
be
older person in this
Must
house
not
is
be
more
In my
than
house, we do a
It
lot
wasn't
of
big.
talking.
When we're growing,
But it's
it
an
was a
option.
uniform, everybody, all our mothers, it was a uniform kind of upbringing.
Yeah.
You know that when you do this, you are going to be, they will flog you.
This will talk to you,
Yeah,
this one will insult you.
But this our generation, everybody's just doing, we're just doing different things.
Yeah, we have
Some people
fences
will be
now.
talking, some are talking, some are not talking. Some will be like, no, just allow the person, let her express herself totally, or let her be herself totally, and all. The way that when you, so sometimes I bother. You train your child in a certain way, and then when they go to school, they meet other people.
Other people, yeah.
Other people's kids.
Yes, they now start forming some kind of habits.
When they come home and you see the habits,
When I see when they come, when I see the habit, I'll be like, no. Okay, they'll come. They'll say, this person's mother did this. I said, I'm not that person's mother. I am Nadia's mother, so I must behave like Nadia's mother. Leave me like that. You understand? So all those things are just the upbringing is just different.
everywhere. There's the confusion with all this psychological talk, really.
Exactly.
So you want to talk tough to a child, they say you do not think of their
mental
can
health.
break down.
I'm not even
they'll be
patient
fine.
enough.
No,
Plenty
but
talk.
to be honest, I have some young girls that work with me, and this is a conversation they say that, they say that their parents don't put into consideration.
yeah, mental health.
He said, we're talking about drug addiction actually, and one of them was saying that, even though there is drug addiction, a lot of people forget that there's alcohol abuse
Yeah.
at this age. And
Yeah.
she says for her, she feels that it has a lot to do with parenting. Our parents do not pay attention. Parents do not pay attention to their mental health. So these are people in their very early 20s. She says that this is a conversation they have with each other all the time, where they are talking to each other about their mental health and what their parents put them through or what they say to them. And when I had the conversation, I'm like, okay, it's valid, but have we raised you to such a point that you are not tough? That everything,
handle
that
issues.
everything affects you. So how then will you build resilience? And that's one of the things I hear about
we're
these
wrapping
generations.
up. Yeah,
The
but I
resilience
think
is-
one of the ways we were able to build resilience, apart from the beating basketballs that they gave to us, was the fact that we were busy. When you come back
we're
from
engaged.
school, you are
But they are
washing
busy.
plates. No, they are always on their phone.
Exactly.
We're washing plates.
Yes.
You are sweeping.
Yes.
You are going to grind pepper.
Yes.
Then when you finish, you now go and run tire. You are playing.
Yes.
You
It
are
depends on
exhausted
your
physically.
socio-economic whatever. There's
Wait now.
Okay.
Even at that time, children had more physical activity to do.
I get it.
And with physical activity, and even the
No,
rich
I
children,
do
for
hands
instance,
is for Devil's
sports.
Workshop now.
Even sports, they will play
Okay.
tennis.
And we don't
That's
do-
when they go and learn the keyboard. I'm talking about the rich class at the time. They go and learn swimming. They go and learn this, they go and learn that. Physical activity.
No time for Devil's
There's
Workshop.
no time for you to sit down and you are now seeing what other people are doing and all of that. So it was easy for you to, sports gives you resilience without knowing that you're building resilience.
No, I'm just saying the reason why I'm a bit disagreeing with you is that it's these very young people. They are getting all this. They are using the internet to get all sorts of jobs. They are so young, still in university, doing all sorts of jobs.
Yes.
For us, we have to wait
Yeah,
till
we are
we
talking
finish.
about
Yes.
the
Yes.
younger,
we have to
younger
finish.
adults.
Yes, they seem to be more.
We're talking of
social
children.
media now.
So when you're
Social
forming
media
a child,
has come.
this is trying to talk about forming the child.
Yeah.
So I say I have two. my eldest child she knows what to do. She comes in, she does it, but the brother is always on the tab. He can be there and you will not hear a sound.
Yeah.
So if it grows like that,
But we had
if
TV,
you don't,
so that one has to do with
TV by 4 p.m.
We had
It was by
people would say
what in front of my face, you don't
Let
finish.
us go, ladies. Let us go. Let us
those other ones.
Let us go. We just need to find ways and ask our God to help us raising these children. Our scorecard and report card will be shown when the kids are big, and we hope that we are not making any mistakes. And I think that's all we can take on the show today. Yes, tomorrow is Saturday. Your View Pigeon continues, so don't miss it, and we'll see you again on Monday. Bye-bye now.